This is the only supply and demand video out there, and I'll take my time and explain everything about supply and demand, how to spot them on the chart, and how to trade them properly. This channel is Simplified Forex Classroom, where we talk about simplifying strategies to trade the market, that is the Forex market, crypto market, and also the stock market. Today we're going to dive deep into how to spot supply and demand in the market and how to trade them. When we talk about supply and demand, there are three ways to go by them. But before then, I'm going to start with the supply, then we come to the demand. Then we go to the chart, how to identify them on the chart, and how to also trade them on the chart. So let's start with supply. Okay, when we talk about supply, it is the area or zone on the market where sellers are willing to take a trade. That is, sellers are expecting to sell. All right, so those are what we call supply. All right, supply zone in the market. They are the zones in the market or area in the market where sellers are willing to pick their sell trades. And there are three ways to identify the supply zone. Okay, the first one is rally based drop. So let me write it here: rally based drop. Rally based drop. Okay, so let me deepen this one, make it big. Okay, so when you talk about rally based drop, this is how to spot them on the chart. When you talk about rally, we are saying a rally means price will push up like this, and there will be a base, okay, like this, you see, and then price will drop to the downside. Okay, this is what we call rally base drop. Let me bring it here so that it will be uniform for us. And remember, to spot a supply zone, we take the whole zone. That is why it's here. It is a zone. It's supply zone, so it is a zone. So this whole zone here becomes the zone. That is the supply zone. Okay, so that's what we call rally base drop. That means price rally from down here. Rally from down here. Let me show you. Price rally from down here to the upside. There was a base here and there was a drop. So that is what we call rally base drop. So this whole zone here becomes our supply zone. All right, we draw the zone there like this. It's a supply zone. So in the near future, if price will trace back into the zone again, we are expecting to take a sell from there. Okay, so this is number one. That is rally base drop. Okay, supply zone. So the second one is drop base rally. Okay, so let me bring that one here. Drop base rally. So from here we're gonna go to the live example, then we try and identify them on the chart. So we have drop base rally. Okay, I know you can draw this one. So it's gonna be drop. So you're gonna have a drop like this. Price will be creating lower highs and lower low like this. You're gonna see, and it's gonna have a base down here. Remember, and then we have a rally, push up. Okay, so that is how to spot it. So this whole zone here becomes the base. That is the supply zone. Where the base is become the supply zone. So we draw the zone there like this. Let me clear this one. Let me draw it properly. Let me write this one properly. Make everything look nice. Okay, so let me write it properly here. So supply zone. Let me change it to maybe 20. Okay, so we have this one, supply zone. All right, so this is what we call drop base rally. Okay, you can see price will be creating lower highs, lower low. We have a low which is breaking here. Sorry, let me do it properly. We have a low which is breaking here. Price push up, create a high. There was a push down, break this low here. A push up, push down. There was a base around this place. That's the price consolidated before the massive impulse move. Remember, this area here where the base, where there is a base, that is where you take and draw your zone from. That is what we call drop base rally. Okay, so we have a drop, we have a base, and we have a rally to the upside. So what we are expecting to do in this case of a supply is we are expecting price to come into the base. Remember, always the base. We want to see price we trace into the base, and then we take the trade somewhere around here based on confirmation, and then push to the upside. Okay, this is what you call drop base rally. The third one is rally base rally. Okay, so we have the third one, which is rally base rally. Let me bring that one here. The third one is what we call rally base rally. So let me copy this one. Let me bring it somewhere around here. Okay, let me so we have rally and we have B's rally. Okay, so this is how to draw it. This is how it looks like. There will be a rally, that is price push up, push down, push up. There will be a base like this, and then price will break the base to the upside. Okay, so this is what we call rally, base, rally. Okay, so this area here where the consolidation happening becomes the base, so you draw your zone from there. Okay, something like this. Okay, so we have rally, base, rally. All right, so basically this one is actually for supply and demand zones. So let me add demand also here. So it's both for supply and demand zones, so not only for supply zones. Okay, so that is to save time for the video, it is for both. All right, so this one is rally, base, rally. You can see we have price rally from down, there was a base here and there was a rally. Okay, so in this case this one becomes a bid for a buy. Okay, let me change this color to a buy. That is, if price comes into the zone, we trace into the zone, we look for confluence around here, then we buy to the upside. So this one is for demand. You can see this one becomes for a demand. This one is also for demand. Okay, demand zone. Why am I saying that? Because we have a drop, we have a base. Okay, we have drop, base, rally. Okay, let me change this one also to demand. So that one too is a demand. Because we have a push, we are expecting a retracement, then we buy from here to the upside. So this is how demand zones act. Now the last one is drop, base, drop. That is the fourth one. The fourth one is drop, base, drop. The fourth one is what we call drop, base, drop. So demand is 2 and then supply is 2. So we have drop, base, drop. Okay, so this is how it is. We have price will be dropping like this, and then it will form a base somewhere around here, and then it will still drop. Okay, that is what we call drop, base, drop. So in this case, this area here, that is where the base is, become the supply zone. Okay, this area here become the supply zone. That is, we are expecting price to come to that area again like this, and then we take our sell. That is, if we find confirmation around here, we take our sell from here to the downside. Okay, so try and identify the base in that move. All right, where the base is where you draw the zone. So this is what you call drop, base, drop. This is also for a supply zone. Remember, for a supply zone. So it is 4. We have rally, base, drop, which is for supply. We have drop, base, rally, which is for a demand. We have rally, base, rally, which is for a demand, and we have drop, base, drop, which is for supply. Okay, now let's go to the live example. Let's apply this principle there. So now let's try and identify them on a chart. That is the supply zones and also the demand zone. What happened here? We saw price drop to the downside. There was a base here before the drop. Okay, so this one becomes a drop, base, drop. So it's an example of what? It's a supply zone. Why? Because we have a drop, we have the base here, and we have the drop. Okay, so this one becomes a supply zone. What you do is you extend the whole base. That is where the base is. You extend the whole base like this, draw the zone around the base, and you extend it. All right, so in the future, the price comes into the base, change character in the base, it will sell. Okay, so that is how to identify the supply zone. Now let's look down here. What happened here? We have price drop, there was a base, and there was a rally. So this one is an example of what? It's a demand. Why? We have a base here. Okay, and if there's a drop, there is a base and a rally, becomes a demand. That is, in the future, if price rally down to the zone, change character there, we should buy. And the same thing happened around that place. There was a change of character around this place, and there was a buy to the upside. Now have you seen how to do it? Perfect entry. Now remember, this was a supply zone. So if price comes into the supply zone, you want to see a change of character. And when price approached this supply zone, what happened? We saw nothing. So this was a supply zone from here, we extend it to this place. We're expecting price to react to it. We took a sell from there to the downside. When price came, what did we see? We saw nothing with price. So we can see price came to the zone, they consolidated, broke the zone. So now this one that it was a supply zone has turned to become a demand. Remember why? Because it has become a rally based rally. Okay, so this one is no more supply, but it is a demand zone. Why? Because we have a rally based rally. So I draw the demand zone there like this, change it to demand zone. So you can see it is now a demand zone. Why am I saying that? Because we have a rally, because we have a rally base rally. Okay, this is the base, this area here becomes the base. All right, so you extend the base like this, waiting for price to come there, and you take our trade. All right, so this is where price is at right now. Okay, this area is where price is at right now. And can we take this whole area here as also a demand zone? So this place becomes the demand zone, and you can see we have price push up, there was a rally, there was a base, and there was a push up again. Okay, so now we also have another demand zone here. Why am I saying that? We have a rally, we have a base here, rally. Okay, so rally, base, rally. Remember, so this area here becomes also a supply zone. We take the low, that is the zone there. Okay, becomes a supply zone. So what we are looking for is we have a supply zone 1, which is here, and we have a supply zone 2, which is here. Okay, now what we are looking for is how do you trade this zone? Now we have gone through how to identify them, looking at the rally base drop, and whatever. Now we have also gone through how to spot them on the chart. Now how do you trade them? That is the supply and demand. How do you trade them? Let me show you. So let's say you have identified your key demand zone around this place, and price is approaching the demand zone. Most of the time, this is how price behave: lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low into the zone. Now you have a lower low, we have a lower high. What you are looking for is reversal candles around this zone. Okay, you saw how price was approaching the zone, how it was behaving, creating lower high. You want to see a very consolidation around here, and also another higher high, higher low here. Okay, because if a car is coming and the car wants to reverse, let's say we have a car here which is coming deep down. So let's say there's a car here which is coming. Okay, so this is a car. Let me draw a small car here, very simple one. So you need to like this video for this, because this is just a real car. Okay, it's not easy for you to draw just a car like this in a few minutes, bro, few seconds. You need to like this video for this. Okay, so you draw this car here is coming deep down to this area. If this car wants to reverse, what it will do is it will try and apply brake, go back, reverse before it will try and go back. Okay, so there's no way this car will come, get here and go back straight. No, there has to be a turnaround. So that turnaround is that consolidation that will happen here before the push. Okay, so you want to see price consolidate a little around this place before the push, and now it has created another base inside the main zone. Okay, and this base becomes our entry zone. So if price comes into that zone again, it has created what we call a higher low, a higher high, and it has created another higher low here. That is a higher low. So we take the trade from this higher low here. Stop loss will be below here. We target 1:2 or 1:3. Okay, so this will be the entry for a buy zone, that is for a demand zone. Okay, now let's go to supply. So we have a supply zone identified here, and it could be any zone, that is any rally. Okay, so let's say price approach the zone. Let's say it was a drop base drop supply drop. There was a base here, there was a drop supply. Okay, so now this is example of a supply. What we are looking for is we want to see price comes into the zone, drop, comes back again, do whatever I want to do. That is the car has to consolidate around, that's apply brake and then push. Now I want to have another small supply zone inside here. That will be our entry candle. We want to see price also come up again, because we have a high here, we have a low, we should have a high, that should be higher low. We take the sell from that higher low, and then stop loss will be above here. TP will be this low. Okay, first TP will be here. Okay, will be here. Second TP will be below it. All right, so this is how also to go by with a supply zone. Now let's go here to the live example. So yeah, this area here, you can see that is what we are looking for to happen around this place. Okay, we have this area here, price push up, it was a base, become that is a demand zone. Okay, we have this demand zone here which was created because price push. Okay, there was a drop base rally demand zone. Okay, but what happened, price broke that demand zone, came back for retest. Now we are looking for sell around here to the downside. Okay, so what happened inside that zone, it was what, a drop base drop. Okay, drop base drop. Okay, so now this demand zone has become a supply because there has been a drop base drop. Okay, so now let me put this one there. This is now a supply zone. Why? Because there was a drop base drop, so we are expecting price to come there, like this. Now you can see there was a base drop, so we are looking for price to come to that area again, and we sell from there to this zone. And if price comes into the demand zone and we find our confirmation around that place, then we take the whole buy from here to this high here. Okay, that is targeting here. So we are looking for either this zone. Let me take this one out. So we are looking to take the buy from either this zone or this zone, based on the reaction candle that we're going to see on either of these zones, guys. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, comment if you have any questions. This is simplified Forex classroom, where we simplify the complicated. Like the video, comment if you have any questions, and guys, I will see you in my next video. Peace out.